So listen, thanks a million for doing this first of all. I really appreciate
Thank
you
you.
coming on. It's funny, I was actually asked, I do, the question boxes on Instagram, and I put one up today and someone sent in a question saying, or are you sponsored by Justin and Underdog? Because he keeps sharing so much of their stuff. I was like, no, I fucking wish. I was like, no. But I've had Justin on and I've had Carrie on, and I talked to Justin a lot on social media and his wife, and like it seems just from the outside looking in, it seems like there's a really nice family kind of atmosphere there between
Yeah,
the
yeah,
athletes in the gym, and then even I think it was you I saw doing like steady state cardio in their kitchen at home. Is that right?
yeah. They have some equipment in his home, and you usually go like actually cut my hair on these few months, and sometimes we just go and play with Ivy and Shax.
Yeah. Ivy is so she makes me doubt everything I've done in my life. When at whatever 4 years old, she's already like stronger, faster, fitter, more gymnastics
Yeah,
capable.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yesterday she was doing legless rock climb. I think it was the first time I saw her do that, but yeah,
Yeah,
4 years old.
she's a determined kid though. Even I saw they got her a skipping rope recently, and like she was whipping the legs off herself, but just kept going and going, and eventually she started
Yeah,
getting it.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's a good quality to have. Um, Coffee is obviously, so it's obviously in the name of the podcast. Coffee is in the name, so it's obviously important.
Yes.
But South America, so like you know Brazil, Colombia, there's huge coffee exporting countries in South America.
Hmm.
What's the culture around coffee like in Argentina? Is it something that's as important as those other countries, do you think?
Yeah, I think that in Argentina a lot of people consume a lot of coffee, like as here as well in the US. It's just people is addicted to coffee,
Yeah.
and I take it more personally. I take it more as a supplement.
Okay.
Like I only drink coffee when I need it, and I can feel the effects. I know a lot of people is so used to it that when they take a coffee, it's just like drinking
Yeah,
water.
that's me.
If I take a coffee later in the afternoon, then I'm not able to sleep. So I really take it as a supplement when I need it, like especially for training or something like that, and it makes effect for me.
Yeah, God, I kind of wish I had that, but I think that those days are
Okay.
gone for me unless I need to stop drinking coffee for too long for that to start happening to me, and I don't think I'm willing to do that. I saw you recently. You were on the CrossFit Games, like YouTube and social and stuff, and their new the recap show. You were interviewed on that. How have you found that extra spotlight? Because obviously it's something that is maybe difficult for the average person to do, but then when you add in that it's not your first language as well, does it make it more trickier?
I think it's great. It was like a nice gift for them to show me on the page, especially for me because quarterfinals doesn't have any prize money. Maybe
Yeah.
I say, okay, at least I'm making some followers, right? But
And do you find with social media and with the added spotlight, I guess, that there's more do you find that there's more pressure on you to show more of yourself or to show a certain side of yourself on Instagram and on videos and stuff?
no, no, I think I already put a lot of pressure on myself for the things I want to achieve, you know, and I don't really care what the people say, and I
Yeah.
don't know. I love to compete and I hope to do my best. And I know there is a lot of other athletes that are great too, and I also am fan of those athletes that are my rivals now or were my training partners as well. So especially from Argentina, I know if anyone could travel to the games, I'll be happy, and I hope I join them. You know, especially we have two spots down in Latin America. It will be great to travel with someone from Argentina as well.
Yeah. I saw on your Instagram a few weeks ago, you shared a memory of being pulled over by the police, and you were in like full like
Yeah,
CrossFit gear. What was that about?
uh, that was at beginning of the pandemic. I moved to the beach to be able to train in my house because I have much more space than in the city. I
Yeah.
usually live in Buenos Aires in an apartment, and that would have been impossible for me to keep training. So
Yeah.
I moved to the beach, and someone called the police to say that I was like breaking the lockdown,
Oh, okay.
and that's why the police come home looking for me. I say, yeah, here I am. I'm training, and I won't live here. I say, so it was just a question of filling some forms and things and showing
Yeah.
that I was doing lockdown correctly.
Yeah.
And now it's getting worse. Like public transportation is being closed just for essential people, and a lot of people is telling me like don't come back, but
Yeah. And you
I should come back because of the visa, right? I've been here 5 months already, and I was planning to go back to compete in Brazil, and now it's online. But anyways, I will go back home.
and what so what kind of visa are you in the US on?
Tourist visa
Okay, and is there a limit, like a time limit on that or no?
is 6 months. Yeah,
So how long do you have left then? 1 month?
yeah,
But
yeah.
you can
I'm
reapply,
leaving.
is it?
Yeah, but yeah, I'm leaving next week anyway. So
Okay.
we,
Where are you
I hope
going?
hoping to. I'm going to Argentina, but
Okay.
I hoping to be able to train normally. And
Yeah. And then are you planning on going back to Vegas again?
I'm planning to come back to the games. Like
Okay.
I'm pretty confident I will make it and come back just for the games.
Okay, that's cool. When did you start CrossFit then? Did you take part in other sports before you started training CrossFit?
I started CrossFit in 2015, like in February or so, right in the middle of the Open.
Yeah.
And I started because I know some friends that was doing it, and I fall in love with the sport. Like I was watching videos on YouTube and everything before even starting. But my family was afraid of what I was going to do, lifting weights or blah
Yeah.
blah blah. You know, but I was older already with 20 years old. I said, whatever, I'm starting. uh,
And had you
and
done other sports before CrossFit?
yeah, before coffee, I did a little bit of everything, nothing professional. Like I never played sport like professionally,
Yeah.
but I did like tennis, which I love it, and I find a lot of things that I can compare with CrossFit individually, right? Like about the mental aspect uh, of being alone in the course or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
But I also did some team sports like rugby or soccer, football. I don't know how to say
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And
uh,
do you like was there a moment then when you thought, say from 2015, can you remember a time where you thought like, fuck, I'm really good at this. I could do this sport like,
yeah, yeah,
professionally or at least semi-professionally.
yeah. It was going into 2018 regional where I just quit college, like just to get ready for regionals and
If
train.
your family didn't want you, if your family were worried about you doing CrossFit because you were going to be lifting weights and stuff, what was their reaction when you said that you're leaving college to do it?
I think it was 3 years after, so I was doing well already.
Okay, yeah.
So I think what they always say was like, we won't give you money to do CrossFit. If you want to travel and compete, you better work and pay yourself.
Yeah.
That was what they say. So I was coaching in my gym. I was trying to make some money, like selling some shirts for special competitions or
Yeah.
maybe something like this, just to be able to compete, right? To
Yeah. Yeah.
travel and compete. I win some competitions as well, so I was saving money. By the time I qualified to regionals 2018, and I end up finishing third in Latin America. We
Yeah.
only qualified one to the games in that year, but I made $3,000, which for me in Argentina is good.
Yeah.
So I say, whatever, I'm would keep doing that. I'm good at it.
And did you opt out of doing the Open the next year? Did you decide not to do it, or did something stop you doing the 2019 Open?
No. In 2019, like when they changed the to national champs and the Open, I decided to go to a few nationals.
Okay.
So instead of competing in the Open, because I'm not an open style athlete. I can much better in person competition, and I always think as well that to deserve to go to the games and to make well at the games, I should win a national,
Okay.
right? Like for me, qualifying through the national champ won't mean I was ready to go to the games. There was a lot of people that qualified through national champ that then end up being cut in the first event or whatever, and I didn't want to be that person.
Mm.
I was thinking, okay, if I'm ready, I will qualify through a national. If I'm not ready, I don't want to go.
Yeah. You did team that year as well. Was that in Brazil?
Yeah. I think that was two my two chances to go to the game. Was first one in individual, competing in Washington, and then the other one in team with the Brazilians.
Yeah. And then you mentioned earlier on about the individual aspect of, say, tennis and CrossFit, where you're on your own, and then that you've played team sports as well, like soccer and rugby. Like, did you find a huge difference being on the competition floor on your own and being on the competition floor with three other people?
Yeah. I think CrossFit on team and individual is just a different sport. Like it's not the same at all. Like you may share the same movements or same exercises, but it is a different sport. Like the warm itself is a beast, like totally different of anything you can do individual.
Yeah.
And also like the communication and the strategies and everything is something you not don't do when you are competing individually. It's just totally different.
And like, it's something that's come up a lot when athletes who have done team have been interviewed, where they talk about the teams that kind of turn on each other and give out to each other and complain to each other. You'll never see those teams doing well. That it's always the teams like Mayhem who just, I remember James Hobart said that, where the first thing that came into their head was, okay, that person's struggling. What can I do to make it easier for them? Or what can I change to make it better for them? As opposed to some maybe less successful teams that would be like just shouting at the person to move faster, or just shouting to, to lift harder or whatever. Did you enjoy being on a team? Or do you think that obviously you want to do well as an individual because you're still competing as an individual now? But
Mhm.
do you think that team is something that you might go back to again someday?
Uh, well, I will question those answers like separately. The first I experienced it with that team in Brazil wasn't good. Like it was like you said, they scream at
Shouting.
me, "Go faster, go faster!" It's like it wasn't nice. I think. Um,
Was that team
but
like three? Was it four individuals put together for the team, or was it already a team that you joined?
No, it was 4 individuals
Okay,
put
yeah.
together for a team.
Yeah.
And actually, I traveled from Washington to Brazil to train with them. We only trained together 2 weeks,
Okay.
and then went to the competition floor. It was a disaster. Yeah, I think I like it in the team. I think I was thinking to do a team maybe next year or the other one.
Okay.
Just but being able to train with them for more time and getting ready as a team, like as I told you, like it's a different sport.
Mm.
It's not training the same, and like Rich does. I think we should be able to live together now and share everything, to communicate better and just to know each other and be able to see what they need or how to help them on the competition floor without even talking. Because on this year competing in Brazil, I remember we have to talk for every rep, and that adds up. When you are exhausted, breathing heavy, and you also have to talk, like no, it's formula for disaster.
How did you start working with Justin, or how did Vegas come about?
Well, in last year, I was training alone at the beach, like I told you, when the police come or everything. I keep training there for almost 8 months, and the situation in Argentina was still pretty bad. So the gyms weren't open fully, like with all the things to train freely, you know. And by that time in August, when they do the CrossFit Games Stage 1, they were Bethany, Danielle training all together, and then after that they keep training for the games with Kari to help them. And watching these things on Instagram, I think I want to join you. Like, I'm training here alone. I don't want to be here anymore. I will travel to train with you.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just by a flight, and a few months later I was here. Like,
and
I met Justin in 2018 and 2019 when I traveled to Washington, and I was able to talk with him in New York, train with Kari too, and then we keep in touch and to make that.
So you didn't just book flights to meet people that you've never met before. You knew you knew them already before moving to Vegas.
I knew Justin and Kari.
Yeah.
And I've been living with Kari like the first few months here.
Yeah.
Because she helped me to make it possible.
Yeah. So you're just doing like sit-ups all day, every day for
power ups. Yeah.
Why, like, okay, so if you were living in Argentina and training on your own, obviously that's not, I suppose for some people that might be ideal, just being isolated and working on your own. But when the opportunity came to move to Argentina and to move from Argentina to Vegas and to train as part of a group, like, were you anyway nervous about moving or apprehensive about moving from, I suppose, if this scenario at your house wasn't ideal, at least it was familiar and something that you had control over, and you knew where everything was, and you knew, like, you know, it was just you. Whereas now you were going to be part of a group and you were going to have to kind of do what they did or work around what they were doing. Were you nervous about that?
No, I wasn't nervous, but I was open to just take advantage of this full experience and learn as much as possible, especially living with Kari 24 hours. I was with her, so trying to do whatever she does, and if she's one of the best of the world, like, yeah, she must be doing something right?
Yeah.
So just try to do the same. And the work for me was that we usually train like almost 6 hours in a row, because it's when the gym has open gym.
Okay.
we don't usually go with the classes around, because if we have to do a Metcon, we use like the whole gym, more or less. And that was the hard part for me, because training at home, I usually do like 3, even 4 sessions if I want, because
Yeah.
I do one Metcon, I go into my kitchen, eat something, then do another thing, like a strength, go eat something, then go again, and I was able to do a lot of sessions. But being here, I had to learn how to survive, because it was actually surviving. I was starving and dying the first days. Uh, but
What's the training environment like? Because from looking at it on Instagram, it looks amazing, where everyone seems to be pushing each other but helping each other, and everybody seems to be, like driving each other on but dragging each other along as well. Is it very different from training environments you've worked in the past?
I think it's, I don't know. Yeah, it's different, because you can see that they compete with each other, but at the same time they are helping each other.
Yeah.
We are like a team, and unless like in the games, I think, because they are not still competing
Yeah.
to, for the same thing, they are helping each other. But when the times come to really
Yeah.
be savage, I think you can see it on their faces that they are not friends anymore when the clock starts, you know?
Yeah. Do you think it takes like a specific kind of person to work well in that environment? Because even I interviewed Nick from Proven with Shane and Tia, and like they deliberately keep their athletes separate. So they have like male female pairs so that they can't compare themselves and they can't compete against each other. So like say they kept Brooke and Tia separate, and they kept, some of the guys separate that they thought might kind of maybe push each other too far. Is that ever an issue for you guys, that that you'd look at Matt and go too hard on the rower because obviously he's like ridiculous on the rower, or that you'd like maybe go too far when you're all training at the same time together? Obviously, if you've only got that 6-hour window, that means there's going to be a lot of overlap of training as well.
I think we don't do everything together. Maybe
Okay.
we are the team together, but like you say, we know when we can push each other on different workouts, and we sometimes do like hits, different hits with different people doing the workout. But yeah, you are always watching the time of each other, and you want to beat each other as well. So it's a little bit crazy. I think, like you say, you have to have a special personality and be able to handle that, because yeah, it's not easy, especially for me or the guys. Like, if you can compare with Carrie, even if she is a female, like you are supposed to lose almost every workout. Like, like yeah, you're not going to win.
Yeah.
You are going to the workout just expecting that
Yeah. Yeah,
and
that's
to do
fair.
your best.
Most recently, I suppose it's funny because you said at the start that sanctionals were a good way for you to earn your games ticket, because you said that you're not a good open athlete, that it's not your strength. Whereas I suppose this year you kind of proved, like the quarterfinals was very similar to the open, and you obviously got through the open, got through the quarterfinals, and you were named the fittest man in South America. So is that something that do you think your training has changed, or your performances have changed, or do you think that the new system is something that will suit you better than the old system of, we'll say, open interregionals?
I think it was kind of both, like changing it a little bit so people cannot repeat workouts or something like that. It suits me much better in the quarterfinals. And also my mindset going into it was different. because knowing that Brazil is going to be online too, I was thinking, okay, why don't instead of just qualifying, because I know I can qualify doing a normal workout, right? Just try to really push myself and try to win the thing because I will have to win the next one too,
Yeah,
right?
okay.
So I take it as a test with a different approach uh, than I would take like the open. Like if you see my scores in the open, I finished 320 something worldwide
Yeah,
with
I
the
mean, look,
first workout.
let's not compare open scores because that's not going to end well for me. But yeah, I take your point.
but, but yeah, the first workout even was the worst, I think, since 2016 or something that
Mm,
I'm competing. The first with the workout was terrible. But I don't even repeat it because whatever, I have to keep training,
yeah.
and that's not important for me. I will make it through the 10%. It's a lot of people. Uh,
Mm,
just keep training. And now with quarterfinals, I was thinking to do something similar, just qualify because I'm not going to the games winning quarterfinals. But when they announced that Brazil was going to be online or the situation in South America with COVID was terrible, saying, okay, let's take it differently. Let's take it as a test and prove myself that I can do it, and that will give me more confidence going into the next stage.
yeah. Have you had any information on the semifinals yet? Like, obviously, you know that it's Brazil that you have to do because that's the South America continental, we'll say. Um, but have you been told like what equipment you'll need or anything like that, or are you still waiting for that information?
No, no, we are still waiting.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure that um, all the online competitions will be hosted by Crossfit, not by the sanctional itself.
Oh, so
So
that's why they're all the same weekend, so that there can be no like
yeah,
cheating
yeah,
or.
I'm pretty sure we are
Oh,
all doing the same thing. I'm pretty sure of
oh,
that. And the workout will be from Dave Castro, I guess, and maybe the equipment will be the same as quarterfinals.
okay.
I don't think they will change too much.
Wow, that's really blown my mind. That's that's interesting. I actually, because I spoke to someone yesterday, and they said the same thing. They said, "I wonder will the workouts be the same, and that's why they're the same weekend, so that no one has an
Yeah,
advantage." And I said, "Oh, I thought just because they're all online, they'd put them the same weekend." But yeah, that makes sense if they're going to be the same. That's a shame. Then it's sad for Brazil, and it's sad for Lowlands, and it's sad for Germany, the German throwdown. That their opportunity is gone because of COVID. Like that, they don't have the chance to put on the big event or even to host an online event because if Brazil hosted an online event really, really well, then CrossFit next year might say, well, look how good their event was when they had just online. Imagine how good it could be if they did it in person. Whereas now it's just like, oh, you had your chance, we'll move on. Like, it's a shame, really. Um, it's interesting that you say that quarterfinals that you changed your approach when you realized, okay, this is going to be online. I better be prepared for the online competition and not get a shock when I start doing that. You're moving back to Argentina next week, is that what you said?
yes,
So are you
yes,
going to be
yes,
doing it online from Argentina then?
yes, yes. But I'm
Um,
already looking for some other athletes to join
yeah,
and
I
do
was
it
I was going to
together
say
because
because I mean it would be amazing to have, let's say, Matt and Tola going up against you in Vegas and like
yeah,
to have
yeah.
that like
Actually,
perfect scenario.
yeah, it was online, but we don't feel it like that being here
Yeah,
because
yeah,
we were doing like all together. We can see each other, push a little bit more because you have the athletes next to you.
yeah,
So I think it will be different being in Argentina. Maybe I hope to not doing by my own, like
yeah,
totally, at least having someone else. Like I told you, I have some great athletes, hopefully in Argentina. I hope we go together to the games, like Agustin Richelme. Like he win an open workout
mm,
this year, and he been on the games in 2019. He's a great athlete. And
So would you like to do like what would you call it? Like an Argentinian heat of like the other Argentinian athletes who qualified together in one place, or would you be afraid that that might give them an advantage if they have you to race against as well as you having them to race against?
no, I'm pretty sure it will be great for both. I think we can push each other,
Hmm.
and he's a great open athlete. So I think that will help me more than I can help him. But
Yeah, let's just hope
for him as
wall
well.
walks don't come up in the first workout.
But yeah, I don't know. It is good if we can make it together. It will be great.
Yeah, that'd be good. Are you still going to be coached by Justin then when you move down?
I'm not sure. I think we are so close to the competition that is the best thing to do, not to change programming right now.
Yeah,
But I have my coach down there, so probably I will keep doing my thing, the Justin's programming,
yeah,
but with my coach by my side that can help me like,
yeah.
to
I get you.
replace him that he will be here, right?
Yeah, you'll have to get your hair cut somewhere else as well.
Yeah.
Do you have any plans for obviously semi-finals is the next step, and then beyond that we've got the games. But have you thought about what you might do after the games is over?
Not yet. Like one step at a time because I still don't know if I'm going to qualify to the games, and that
Mm,
will change the whole season.
yeah,
So let's see. Let's see
and
first
then
what happens now.
in the off season, obviously there are some interesting opportunities, say after the games, kind of filling in that gap between the games and the Open. Then the following February, of there's events like Wadapalooza and Filthy here in Ireland and other events all over the world, really. Some former sanctionals and then some just big events that weren't actually sanctional events. Do you think that is that something that you look to explore further, or do you think that that might be a distraction from, we'll say, the key part from February to August?
No. I think I love competing in all the sessionals. I've been in Wadapalooza 2 times
Hmm.
already, and I'm a kind of person that I need to have like a goal more approachable or more closest to the games because I'm not able to train from semifinals to semifinals or something like that is like a lot of time because even the open or quarterfinals for us is like I told you, it's not important. We don't need to pick that
Hmm.
in these competitions. So if you are not counting those, you have like a whole year to train for one to another. And in the middle, I need to test myself, like where I am, what I have to keep working on,
Hmm.
and that's what I use for learning is traveling to competitions, right, and
Hmm.
see what happens.
Yeah. Your English is remarkable. I was kind of like not nervous, but you're not sure, but like it's God, it's so easy to talk to you. Your English is like incredibly good. Um, has it been a culture shock moving to Vegas? Like, is there, because obviously, I know Buenos Aires has a big population and it's a very busy city, and you mentioned there's not a lot of space, but Vegas seems to me like it's would be a strange place to live, maybe, where there's a lot of like bright lights and stuff going on, and then also like desert and space and stuff. Has it been an unusual place to live?
Actually, when I first arrived here, it was surprising. Like what you expect from Vegas, it was not. Because if you want to be far from the strip
Mm,
and doing a normal and active life, is like you don't even notice you're here. Like
okay.
it can be like any city,
Yeah.
and especially being with Carrie, that we never went out. Like I think she've never
Carrie
been
doesn't
on
go
the
down
trip.
playing crabs and 21 down in the casino every Friday. No.
No, I think she's never done that since she's here, like more than a year ago. And I did went with other people just to
Yeah,
know because I'm here. Okay, let's just took some experiences,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because just to see, I went to the casino and gambled one time. I
yeah.
say I only, I
You
just
lost
a
everything,
couple
came
of,
home.
just a couple of boxes, really,
Yeah,
right? And
couple of
the
$100,000, just nothing major. Just
but yeah, I went to the pool with guys in the strip, so but just to enjoy a little bit, and that was all. But actually, I don't enjoy it either. I'm more the kind of going hiking or
okay.
doing something on outside the gym or outside the casinos, right?
Yeah,
And that's more my style. And Vegas has a lot of it as well. Like you
yeah,
can go a lot of different places, like Red Rock or and
yeah. That's good. That's
great.
good. The best of both worlds, I guess. Um,
Hmm.
well, look, we'll finish with a quick fire. So these are all either or, so you have to pick. So assault bike or rower,
Assault bike,
run or ski.
run,
I'm thinking, are you the only person that's ever picked assault bike? Dumbbell or barbell,
barbell,
chipper or sprint,
sprint,
rings or bar,
rings.
1,000 calories on the assault bike or 500 thrusters.
Oof, that's that's a bad one. 500 thrusters.
Oh, really? But the thing about the assault bike is you can just go really slowly. It might take you 2 days, but you just go really slowly, whereas you still have to do full thrusters on the thrusters. So I think
No,
I'd go
I
assault bike.
think that's the worst because the assault bike, if you have to go slow, you feel like you'll never end.
Have you been on the assault bikes where it has the decimal where it's like 1.1, like 1.2, 1.3, the calories tick up
Oh
in
yeah, yeah.
decimals, and like you're pedaling, like it's only that on the assault bike that has the normal like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 calories without the decimal, you're kind of like, okay, it's going to take over now in a second, and you can see it taking over. Whereas the one with the decimal is when you realize how fucking long it takes for that last calorie. You're like 0. 0.7, come on, it's like 0.8, and you're like, yeah, no, I can't. I hate the decimal one. And then Argentina or Vegas.
That's a tough one. Depending for what?
Yeah,
Depending
yeah,
for what? For
yeah,
training in Vegas, for sure.
yeah.
Uh,
Do you think is that
Argentina is great too. I invite everyone to come to Argentina, like just after season.
yeah, well, if you're paying for it, I'll go. With your winnings from the casino, you can bring us all. Do you think that then if you're enjoying that kind of training environment, do you think that, maybe next year or the year after or something, do you think that you might move back to Vegas?
Yeah, yeah. I'm thinking like if I'm not doing team like I told you and living with someone to do it,
Mm,
I will sure do it again. But maybe just planning it a little bit more because when I came here, we don't know how the season will be,
yeah.
and that's why I'm leaving 1 month before semis,
Oh yeah,
right?
okay.
Which is not the
Not ideal,
ideal
yeah.
situation. Like if I could have waited for February or something to do the open in Argentina because it doesn't matter, and then came later to train and
Mm,
do everything else here. And I think that will be the best for me, like in the coming years, if I can plan it better with
mm,
a season that is reasonable and
mm.
we know how it will be. Just
Yeah. Well, you could always do an underdog team in like 2022. I'm sure
yeah,
Justin would find some
that,
people.
yeah, that's depend of Justin if he wants me on the team or not.
Yeah. Well, listen, thanks a million for coming on, and congrats again on South America, and best of luck with your move home and with semi-finals. I know I'll definitely be keeping an eye out for you on the leaderboard and see how you're getting on, and hopefully you get your chance in Madison, because I think you really deserve it. It'd be a great round off of the year for you. It'd be really good.
Thank you so much. I enjoyed talking with you.
Cheers, man. Thanks a million for doing this, first of all. I really appreciate you taking the time out.
Yeah.
I've seen you you share like Killer Coffee a bit. Is that an Aussie company? Are you working with them?
Yeah. So yeah, the short story behind that is yeah, during COVID, my dad was buying it, and I had never like really tried it before. We sort of got locked down, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll give this a go, and yeah, loved it, and hit them up, and they were happy just to keep supplying us. So yeah, we were super lucky with that.
That's cool. Is it something military based, or is it different?
No, it's just their brand.
Okay, I thought it was one, like you
Yeah.
see those Black Rifle and those kind of ones. I thought it was one of those.
Yeah, nah, it's not.
Coffee in Australia is like massive. And like
Mm.
I think, like, do you know how spoilt you are being in Australia compared to other places, or is it just so much the norm that you don't even
I
realize?
don't think so. Yeah, I think I'll take it for granted.
Yeah, like literally anybody I've talked to, either from Australia or who's visited Australia, always has Australia at the top of their, like, it's the first thing that comes to their head when you say something about like good coffee, like, oh well, I was in Australia once or whatever. It's always the place they go. Because even like, I suppose New Zealanders might disagree, but like the flat white originated in somewhere in that neck of the woods anyway, either New Zealand or Australia. Have you like, do you use coffee, say, as a stimulant, like for training or stuff, or is it just like part of your general lifestyle as well?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it is just a part of the lifestyle, but yeah, I'll always like have a coffee about an hour before I go to training.
And
Just
do you find it has an effect on you, like?
Yeah, I find it does, because I train around 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon every day. So yeah, if I feel like I do get like a little bit tired towards like sort of after lunch, and then yeah, I feel like it does help a lot.
And do you coach before that?
Coach?
Do you coach in the mornings? No.
Nah, I don't coach at all.
And what do you do up until, like, what's your day like up until 4 o'clock?
So we've just started recently hitting sort of a on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday mornings we're doing rowing, running, and swimming.
Okay.
In the mornings. So yeah, my day, like just starting this year, I've gone full time with CrossFit. Previously, I was working as an electrician.
Okay. And was that a big
finished my apprenticeship?
Was that a big leap to take?
Yeah, it was just with getting an income.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had always planned on getting something under me before I went full time with CrossFit.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then just with sponsors now, I've been super lucky just to be able to put all my time into CrossFit. So
yeah, I've heard you on
my days.
I've heard you on another podcast. I think I've only heard you on one so far, and I've seen you on vlogs and stuff. But is that something that you're, so you, like, obviously if you've gone full time and you mentioned sponsors and stuff, that I suppose you need to be out there, and you need to have your face out there, and you need to be, I always find you need to be either like likable or inspiring, or both. I suppose for sponsors, both is probably like that's the Goldilocks area, I suppose.
Yeah.
Is that like, are you consciously making an effort to put yourself out there, or do you just like maybe react to opportunities as they come up?
Yeah, I guess my main focus is just to be like performing at my best. And then I think sort of all the sponsors and opportunities will follow.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not too focused on like, yeah, I suppose putting sort of a fake thing on to get sponsors and, you know, Instagram followers. I think the main thing is if you perform well, that stuff's all going to follow.
Yeah. I think as well, if you're anyway fake or contrived about it, like the mask will slip eventually, and like that's when sponsors start going like,
100%.
this isn't the person that we thought we were getting into bed with.
Yeah.
Obviously, like, you know, with earnings and income and stuff, like opportunities as a, you know, like as a professional in the sport are like pretty limited, really. Like it's very like top heavy, we'll say, for winning prize money and stuff. You kind of really have to graft outside on your own, I suppose, with sponsors and like maybe entering competition, like other competitions, but then also there's, I suppose, a backlash there where you might overextend yourself in your off season, or you might, you know, like lose focus on other things. Like, do you find that, is it more pressure than you thought it would be, or is it easier than you thought it would be having switched to full time?
I would say easier, just with all like the less stress. As I'm still living at home with my parents, so it's not too stressful for me, and I can fully focus on training and having the extra time, whereas I didn't when I was working. I can now have the time to put that into recovery and eating properly. So yeah, I just feel super chilled and super focused on what I'm doing.
Yeah. The gym you're in obviously is one of the like most successful gyms, I suppose, in that part of the world. And it seems that just looking at it, like excitement seems to be growing year on year. Like you've got Maddie there who's been to the games a good few times, and then team as well, and then all like Rob's successes, like that obviously comes with pressure too, I suppose. Like I spoke to Nick from Proven recently about all the cameras and stuff that are around their gym, and how like there's always, like it seems like there's always one, if not two, companies or brands there recording everyone and recording everything that's going on. And I saw Vaki's vlog there the other day from your place. Like, is that, have you had to get used to that, like to kind of being on all the time and to being like, you know, used to cameras and lenses and stuff being around?
Yeah, 100%. Like I that's something that I've had to get used to and work on a lot, and that's YouTube for a little bit, just to get better at talking to the camera and not being so intimidated and not thinking about like what I'm gonna say while I'm saying it, you know.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I've been working on that stuff a lot, and yeah, making the vlogs I think have helped.
Yeah, I think like once you're not a total prick, like people are going to like the person that's editing it, unless they're an asshole, they're not going to like put anything ridiculous in it. So like I think it stems back to, I suppose, what you were saying about when you're working with brands, you want to be, you know, you want to just be Jay Crouch and just have them see what you are, rather than like putting on a specific show, because then the next time someone comes around with a camera, you're like, shit, how did I act the last time now? Like, I don't want it to look too different. Like, so yeah, but I think even like it like I'd imagine it as being pressured. Like I've been at competitions before, like small little competitions, local things, where I'm consciously aware of the fact that like, oh shit, there's a camera doing the rounds, and like there might only be like, say, 3 cameras there, but I still get a bit freaked out where it's like, oh shit, if I miss this lift now when the camera's there, it's going to be really embarrassing or whatever. Is that like, are you kind of developing, or have you developed the ability to just like switch off totally that side of things as soon as, say, the clock says go?
Yeah, 100%. Like I'm at a point now, don't really even know what music's playing. You're just sort of so focused on what you're doing. If you've got a game plan, you're sticking to that. Yeah, you do get used to it. Like, I mean, probably like the earlier days competing and stuff, you do notice those things. But yeah, now again, yeah, I'm just so focused on what I'm doing. So it's just oblivious to it all.
When did CrossFit become a blip on your radar? Like, when did you first get involved with it?
When I was 13, so about 9 years ago.
Jeez, yeah, a bit of a head start on most.
Yeah.
And have you always gone to the same gym?
No. Started just a gym. That was a gym just down the road from my house. that my dad started at and he got me into. And yeah, that closed down, and then I moved to Rob's gym when I was 17.
Yeah. So you've been, and was he coaching you since then? Like,
yeah, since I was 17.
And like, in your mind, is there a moment where you felt like, you know, that you were onto something, or, you know, like so many people have the aim of, I suppose, making it to the games, but so few do. And then you've done it on your on a team, and then you did it last year. Like, you know, it was very different, I suppose, than you hoped it would be when you do make it. Like, can you remember a time when those dreams became like more so goals than dreams?
Yeah, I would have probably said 2018. It was like, all right, this is happening. That was the year that I was on the team with Rob when it went to the teams of 4.
Yeah.
And I got to experience it all, see all how it panned out, and I was like, yeah, this is gonna be a thing. So yeah.
I remember, I think that was the year, was there something, someone fucked up somewhere and there was like some kind of mistake with registration or something, and then Rob had to, well, he didn't have to, but he decided to step in, like, to make up for the error.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have anyone stepping into your team, that's a pretty fucking good person to have, like, filling a gap, right?
That's the guy you want. Yeah, for sure. So that was the first year that I qualified for regionals as an individual as well. And yeah, that whole drama sort of unfolded of one of the boys that didn't click the box to be on the team. And yeah, Rob was like, he sort of mentioned that he was keen to go team, and because we had like pretty solid people at our gym, and I was like, how can I say no? It was the first year that he decided, like, he had gone like 7 years individual before that.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, let's do it. So,
what are your like prevailing memories of that year on team? Because obviously, if you had the opportunity to go individual, or to, I suppose, like you know, pursue the individual route but chose team, and then you have someone like Rob coming on who has all that experience that you mentioned, like, is it do you think that made it easier for you to go to Madison and experience having like someone who, I suppose, you can just look to and say, like, what's the story with this, and they can just explain it to you without like any kind of wonderment or like confusion about things?
yeah, 100%. I think that was like one of the best things that could have happened sort of in the earlier stage of my CrossFit career. Like having a guy that's done it that many times, and then I just get to sort of hold his hand all the way through the 2018 sort of team.
Please tell me literally that you're walking around Madison like fingers intertwined.
Not quite. But,
yeah, it's like, hey, that guy brought his son with him.
Yeah, legit. So yeah, that was really good. I was super lucky for that year, and I still even say to him today, like, that year was so sick. Like, I'll never forget it. Just how it played out, like, won regionals, and then like to finish top 10 was awesome at the game. So yeah, learnt so much that year.
Are you and Madeline are a couple, right?
Yes.
But were you then? No.
No. Sort of towards the end of 2019.
All right, okay. I was gonna say, like, it must have been weird being on a team and then her being on individual, same, like, it must be weird having that dynamic going. But obviously, like, if you're together now, and then if, like, I suppose your life would be very sports centric, I guess, or like, you know, you're both very focused on hitting your aims and stuff, is it like tricky to just kind of switch off and have like a normal, oh, let's just go on a date and like not talk about CrossFit or not talk about whatever? Like, does it ever get hard to kind of switch it off?
No. As soon as we're not in the gym, it's just it's switched off. You know, like we'll happily just talk about CrossFit and sort of the space, what's going on. Like, it's not like an annoying sort of thing that we have like I've never actually even really thought about it having to like switch it off, you know.
Yeah.
It's no, it's cool. Like we're not all the, like the competitiveness between us is really good too. It's all just like friendly banter, all that sort of stuff. So
Yeah, I guess when you're not direct
it's
competitors, it
super.
helps.
Yeah, and that's another thing. So yeah, no, it's super easy.
Last year, like you obviously made it to the games, and then the world like shat its pants, and you ended up competing like at home for stage one. Like, was that obviously? I suppose initially you're disappointed that like, oh shit, like I made it, and then it's not exactly what I thought it would be. But was there positives to take from it, like the fact that it was on your own home ground and that you had people around you and stuff?
Yeah, for sure. There was definitely the positive of that. I was happy that there was something rather than nothing. And yeah, I always said like I had the sort of vision in my mind of what my first CrossFit Games as an individual would be like. And like never would have thought that it'd be in my home gym out the back of my house. So yeah, nah, it was still super cool that they did something, and I had a fun weekend, had my mates around here, and yeah, it felt like a competition, just different at home.
And then is it like when that's over and when the stage one is finished and you see people moving on, those final five moving on to stage two, is that like, are you envious? Are you like disappointed, or is it just purely lighting a fire for 2021 then?
Yeah, just purely lighting a fire. Like I had the goal of just finishing top 20, and I mean, I might have surprised myself and got into that top 5, but I wasn't expecting it. So yeah, just the goal was top 20, and yeah, it just lit the fire for this season. And knowing that I definitely belong in the top 20 and top 10 even. So yeah, just slow progressions, but yeah, just gave me a lot of confidence.
Yeah. How are you feeling facing into Torian? Because even like I like, you know, when they announced the seeding the other day, and obviously you know who's going to go to Oceania because like they can't go anywhere else. But like I was flicking through the CrossFit Games Instagram page, and I was like, oh, geez, there's you know, the Germany one. I was like, geez, fuck, there's a lot of good people there. And then like the Lowlands one, I was like, oh fuck, there's a lot of good people there as well. Like it used to be the case where you could kind of pick, oh, those five will probably go through regionals, or you could pick like, oh, that person will probably win the sanction or whatever. And then especially I thought Atlas Games, and then when I went to Oceania, it was just like, fuck, like it's such a stacked field. Like those two events in particular, I thought are just like rammed with people who've, you know, multiple years games experience either on team or on their own. Like even if you just look at Oceania, you got like Brandon, Can, Royce, Zeke, like there's heaps of others. Is it hard to, you know, you mentioned when the clock starts that you just focus on yourself, but like is it tricky to switch that off when you know that there's 3 spaces up for grabs and that's it?
Yeah, it all just comes down to, I suppose, not making mistakes, and pushing as hard as you can for every single point that you can get, because when it comes down to like that last workout of the weekend, every point counts. Like that's a big thing that I've sort of been, even at the Australian CrossFit Championships, that was a big thing that I was focusing on, just sort of getting every single point that I can.
And then sorry, go on.
Yeah, and then to sort of go into more like thinking about the boys that are there, like it's something that I don't really think about either. Like I'm just going to run my own race, and when I do that, it's sort of it ends up where I am at the end of the weekend.
Yeah, because even I was thinking, if you ask Brandon Swan, there's 2 places up for grabs because he's determined to get his 3 in a row of Torian. I was watching Vakey's vlog with him this morning, and it was just like, you know, like I think he mentioned the fact that like he knows how special it is to him, like that competition in particular, how special it is to him. And he's like, I don't know if it's as special to other people. And I think like he probably has a point because he's won it twice. He had a pretty shit year with his injury and everything. Like, so it's, you know, there's I guess a nice narrative to his story of if he does come back and win it for the third time. But obviously, even if you're, I suppose, mates with people who are at the same competition, or if you're, you know, like the Aussie male side, I'm not too familiar with the female side, but the Aussie male side in particular seems very pally, like very friendly to each other, and very like everyone seems to get on with everyone because everyone seems to be like, as far as I've seen so far anyway, pretty damn nice. So like I can imagine it being kind of hard to, you know, step across the line and kill or be killed kind of thing, and then step back across the line and be like, oh, how'd you find that one? Like, you know, just kind of chatting to each other. It must be a weird scenario to find yourself in. And then added to that, like, when was the last time you did an in-person like live competition?
Yeah, it was the Australian CrossFit Championship, so March 2020, just before it all went down.
So that's a big gap of like, not, I know you're not training on your own, or you're not, I suppose you're not competing on your own because you had other athletes in your gym doing it, but it's a very different beast when it comes to a packed stadium, or even if it's only half full, like in Torian. It's going to be, is that something that you're kind of conscious of? All right, I'm going to need to get used to the fact that it won't just be me and like people who want me to do well. There'll also be other people and people who want them to do well.
No, I consider myself better in person, and what's given me even more confidence this year is that I won the Open and I won the quarterfinals in Oceania. So I'm feeling in a really good spot, and like, yeah, none of that affects me. I'm just gonna be, go out there, do my thing.
Yeah. What was the vibe like in the gym last weekend? Obviously, you had the team qualifiers were on. Was it unusual being on the other side of the qualifier, like being a spectator or a judge or whatever, instead of being involved?
Yeah, it was super cool. My brother's in the team at the gym, so that's really cool to see. He's only 19. So yeah, it was like even just some of the members hanging around the gym, they're like, oh, you get to be on this side of the fence this weekend and just have a watch. So yeah, it was cool just to sit back and enjoy watching for once. But yeah, it was cool to help the team out and sort of strategize the workouts, because they were very similar to the individual quarters. So yeah, it was cool just to sit back and enjoy it.
Do you think that you have like maybe a unique perspective around your gym, especially because you were someone that who, you know, started out and then went team, experienced the pinnacle of the sport, I suppose, as far as team goes, and then moved to individual and are en route to hopefully experiencing the same pinnacle in the individual side in full this year, having experienced, I suppose, an odd version of it last year. Do you think that you're in a unique position to advise people, like, say, like your brother, who are, you know, facing into doing qualifiers, doing workouts, going to Torian and stuff like that?
Yeah, 100%. I'm always willing to help anyone out that is trying to have a crack. So yeah, for sure. I feel like I'm definitely not a rookie to the game anymore.
Yeah. When the quarterfinals, when the new season or the new structure or whatever was announced, like you mentioned there that you won the Open and you won quarterfinals, like obviously confidence is building, you know, and hopefully momentum is building for you as well towards like something special happening. But when they announced the changes to the structure to the season, were you as confident as you are now? Like, say, when you were facing into, okay, there's going to be the Open and then there's going to be quarterfinals and then there's going to be this event in Torian, like, were you confident facing into it, or do you think your confidence has grown like as you've competed through the season?
Yeah, I was confident going in, just going off last season. I feel like I'm the best version that I've been, as I'm still growing, getting older. I'm only 22.
Yeah.
So yeah, the confidence had been high since the games, even since ACC. So yeah, to go out and get the result from the Open and the quarterfinals, it wasn't a surprise to me, because that was my goal, and that's how I felt. And yeah, I just can't wait to go to Torian and just keep it going.
Yeah. Okay, well look, we've finished with a quick fire. So they're all either or. So row or ski?
Row.
Deadlift or squat?
Squat.
Flat white or long black?
Long black.
Dumbbell or barbell?
Dumbbell.
Run or bike?
Run.
Team or individual?
Oh, that's a hard one. Individual.
Yeah, I'll ask you, when you go to the games individual, you'll have a proper comparison to make, and it'll be you'll have a more well-rounded answer. Favorite nano?
The latest one, X1.
Yeah, I found I think you put up a story the other day where you had like two pairs, like black and gum. Just there's something special about that combination. But I found a pair of, I think they were Nano 7s, or maybe 8. I'm not sure. They were very similar to each other, those two numbers. But I was tidying up our gym, our front room, and I found them like under another pair of shoes, and I was like, geez, yeah, I actually like those, and I haven't taken them off. Like, I don't know, I just can't. I just think they're unbeatable. Like, they're just something. They're absolutely fucked. Like, they're in ribbons, and they're all like the toe is all worn from like, failing to climb ropes and shit. But I'm actually I'm determined to keep wearing them until an actual hole comes in the sole from being worn out. Because at the minute it's like smooth out. I couldn't wear them running. Like, I'd just crack myself if I did, I'd say. Cool. Listen, thanks a million for coming on. I really appreciate you taking the time out, and I've every confidence. Obviously, like, I'm friends with Brandon, so I really want him to win. But there's 2 other places up for grabs, so I'd be glad if you took one of them. I wouldn't have any issue with that. But yeah, best of luck for the rest of the season. I really hope you get a proper crack at the games this year. Whatever happens, I hope restrictions allow a proper competition to take place, and people like you and from different continents to make it over. I think it'd be really special. I think something that everyone needs to see is a proper all-out battle in Madison, and hopefully you get to do it. So yeah, best of luck.
Yeah, 100%. Thanks heaps for having me, mate. Appreciate it.
Cheers, man.